So it's our pleasure to introduce today Christopher Cahill from George Washington University. He's a professor in both chemistry and in international affairs. It's a fun little mix. But it really comes into play with his lab's research on actinides and transuranics. Though his talk a little earlier was about science behind it, this will be more focused on policy complications that come with it. We'll go into a little bit of his background, but I'll mention things he may not. He's a NSF career, or he was an NSF Career Award and a Fulbright Scholar. He's also received a couple teaching awards for his innovative and student-oriented approach to teaching. So with that,
okay. Thanks. Thanks for the invitation, and it's a real pleasure to engage with this community. So just show quickly what sort of demographics are we looking at? I know chemistry is represented, but what else do we have in here? Forensics, of course, yeah, and immunology, okay.
Astrophysics.
Astrophysics, excellent. Okay, anybody?
Materials engineering.
Okay, excellent. Okay, and
Atmospheric science.
atmospheric science is great. Okay, so because what I'm gonna do is this is here. I'll just cut to the chase. I have a little bit of an outline here of what I want to talk about. I don't particularly, unlike a lot of scientists, I don't really claim to have much of an ego, so I actually don't really like talking about myself too much. But I think it's important, though, because I'm going to talk you through the career trajectory and what was sort of on my mind at certain times, because I sort of wish someone had done this for me when I was earlier in my career. What kind of things you're weighing at a given time, okay, in terms of path forward for career, path forward for fulfillment, path forward to eating because you need a job, these kinds of things. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to encourage some reflection as to what you want to do and why. We're in a theme here of a science policy studies group. It's going to be a little bit thin on the policy, the depth of the policy. I've actually probably talked more policy in the last talk, but this is more how to get engaged in policy, how to get employment in policy, and what I did for my 1 year sabbatical. For some reason, they don't even get a great number. I'm not going to restart the talk. I'm going to talk about some resources, which, talking with Jared on the way over here, it turns out you guys seem to be a pretty enlightened community in terms of engagement with AAAS and with, I mean, you have a science policy studies group, right off the bat that says something. So maybe I'll be preaching to the choir a little bit in terms of some of this information, but maybe it's nice to hear it again and have some nuts and bolts suggestions. I hate the word alternative for careers because it implies if you do something other than a faculty position, it's a failure. That's wrong. I don't have a good alternative for this. Alternate career, I don't know, career trajectory, whatever. But the thing I want to highlight here is that there are plenty of opportunities to be impactful and to gain fulfillment outside of academia. And statistically, we're not all going to get faculty positions anyway. So I don't want to create this environment of thinking that there's only one trajectory forward for any kind of fulfillment and alternate. And now that's a deadly word now, right? In current administration, it's an alternate career means what you have a night job. I don't know. And some unsolicited advice. I also have this sort of comment of preparation versus planning. Those are two very different things, and I'll highlight that as we go along. Preparation is amassing a skill set that's transferable across disciplines, across jobs. Planning is a little bit different. That's making your to-do list. Okay, so there's some differences there. I'll go through this sort of quickly, but I entered college to be, entered college to be a music major, and I got put on a pedestal by my high school band teacher who seemed to think I had some talent. And I even went to the same school she went to. I was going to be her, and except she was good, I was not. I failed my auditions, it was just a total train wreck. And I don't know why I listened, but they had a really nice chemistry program at SUNY Fredonia, just a couple of hours north and west of here. And a chemistry faculty member rescued me. I had gotten signed a default advisor after the music thing didn't work out, and he said, take my chem classes. Okay. So my point there was bad mentoring to get there, but good mentoring when I was there. And I'd like to highlight the mentoring bit, largely because it's so important at every stage of your career, and as you're going to see, I'm going to start lamenting it later. because you start to run out of mentors the more senior you get, and you almost need it the most then. So I went to graduate school at Arizona State University, another big mistake. Chose poorly, stayed too long. I loved the desert. I loved hiking and partying, that kind of thing. Stayed too long. No mentoring, because I never talked to my advisor. And that was a big mistake. And then so I had gone to a PhD program at SUNY Stony Brook. I had done an REU program in there the previous summer. And I called my advisor, John Parisi, who some of you might know, said, what do? I got to get out of here. And he said, get in the car. You can start with me in September. So I drove to New York, and this turned out to be wonderful. It was, everything fell into place. I got serious about science. I got serious with my breadth as a scientist, meaning I was attracted to natural systems as well as what we were doing in the laboratory. Use of national facilities. I started to get interested in the synchrotron community. That's where I was doing some science, but also the culture and the infrastructure of doing science at big machines at the national and international level. I sort of got a tiny bit of an inkling or an itch to understand not only just doing science, but how science was getting done. Okay. Good science mentoring, not so much for career. I didn't really get much mentoring, especially in a geoscience department. Very different culture from chemistry. I was not very well chemistry prepared for the chemistry trajectory. I got a nice postdoc position at University of Notre Dame, very productive. Little career mentoring. My advisor was an outstanding scientist, but he was new in his job too. Not terribly much older than I was, so we were both sort of in the same boat in many respects. He gave me some great advice, but it wasn't the sort of senior level perspective. Got very lucky with getting a faculty position at George Washington University in 2000, and as you might imagine, the assistant professor trajectory, chaos, just trying to keep it together. This was my, and it continues now at GW, very, really profound mentoring in some respects. So a department chair is sort of a god among men who really tells it like it is to you and helps you evaluate what you need to be doing for success. And so it clearly works because it got tenure, got some money, the group is humming, whole sort of normal faculty trajectory. And that sort of thing. I took a sabbatical as a Fulbright scholar because I was trying to broaden my perspectives in spectroscopy and then for actinide chemistry, so I did these two things over the course of an academic year, 6 months at each. And then back to GW, and this is where the policy stuff really starts to hit. And that's where the title changes. I became a full professor and this professor of chemistry and international affairs. Okay, really groovy title, right? Business card, that's awesome. And the way this happened was, and this is starting to really sort of the nucleation of my policy interests. I started hanging out with the international affairs community at GW, Elliott School of International Affairs, Dynamite School, and it has security policy studies, energy policy studies, science and technology policy studies, all these things. And I started to pinch hit for some professors. Very strong nuclear security program. And I got asked, hey, can you come in and tell us how a weapon works and how a power plant works and these kinds of things? Just these sort of one-off lectures here and there because you got this PhD political scientist trying to explain, and it's really uncomfortable to watch when they tell you how a nuclear power plant works or how a weapon works. I said, sure, I'll do it. Throw together a couple of slides, do this. Turns out there was this huge market for this. So everybody wanted to go to these lectures and everybody wanted them in their courses. And I realized, hey, here is a very engaged, smart, non-technical community that is hungry for technical details and capable, right? There are plenty of one of the things, the theme we'll develop is this disconnect between the technical and non-technical communities, the policy and the technical communities. That's why you guys are engaged here, right? So the issue here is that sometimes scientists think the policy guys don't want to listen or vice versa. It turns out there's just kind of a communication gap. And their career and scholarly trajectories diverged at freshman year. You go science or you go political science. Physical science, political science, right? So they don't come back around, ever, unless you really force that to happen. So what I was learning is that there was a real market and need and desire for this at GW. I wrote a proposal to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. They'd never seen anything like it. All right, take the money, figure it out. And it developed a couple of real courses, not the one-offs. Science of Nuclear Materials, Nuclear Safeguards, and Forensics. And I started teaching these courses. Great. Lots of policy people in there. My theme there was to develop a modicum of technical understanding among the non-technical community, and the idea is that you would empower them with just enough science to feel comfortable at the table, to engage with technical people, and that sort of thing. Give people some power to do their job more effectively. And these are no slouches. These are people that I had students in there from all flavors of federal agencies, State Department people, DOE people, NNSA, DHS, all of the acronyms that you can imagine, future congressional staffers, that kind of thing. We taught the class at night, so everyone's coming straight from work in suits with lanyards, very DC. And it turned out it was fantastic. But what happened was, I started learning more from them. I started off as a bit of an elitist scientist saying, I can't wait to teach these guys about nuclear reprocessing. We're just going to fix the world. And then people started challenging me on things, saying, hey, you're superimposing your US-centric belief on top of other countries, and you're assuming they're going to be able to pull this off with your cultural beliefs and how they value. All of a sudden, I was getting it from all sides, and I realized I was completely out of my league, and I realized they were very articulate, focused, interesting pushback or contrary views, contrary to technical. Just because something was physically possible isn't the reason to do it anymore in my head. So as I realized I had to do something to sort of up my game in terms of the policy exposure, getting my policy by osmosis through my students and through my professor colleagues and going to seminars and trying to learn policy on the fly. And I realized it wasn't cutting it. And so what I did is I applied to one of these fellowships. The American Institute of Physics has a State Department Science Fellow Program, competitive fellowship. Talk more about it later, but that's this sabbatical here. Talk more about the infrastructure of the program. But bottom line is I got it. And the idea was I needed to go full immersion into the policy world and learn the culture, the vocabulary, things like what's a work product? What counts as a win in the policy community? We all know what's a work product for us. What's the thing that you need to get ahead or for anyone to recognize you?
Publication.
A publication, right? That's not true in the policy realm. Okay, so what is that? What counts as a win for those guys? Okay, and so and when you're doing diplomacy internationally, like you do at the State Department, how do you know how do you know the meeting with the Armenians went well? This is what the scientist needs to figure out. Okay? And so I did this, for personal enlightenment. I found an intellectual challenge, but also I wanted to bring it back to my classes. Okay? To make the grad classes, my nuclear classes, better, so I could speak their language. But also to be able to sort of bridge that technical, non-technical gap sort of in all my classes and with my research group as well. So where I was, U.S. Department of State, I'll show a work chart in a second, Bureau of International Security and Non-Proliferation, Office of Weapons of Mass Destruction and Terrorism, Nuclear Forensics Team. Sounds really impressive. Well, it was. But so nuclear forensics, I see we have some forensic scientists here, and that's outstanding and exciting. I'm not going to do too much technical stuff here, but just some interesting vocabulary to set the stage for what you do in policy and nuclear forensics. The technical objective definition by scientists who said this, primary technical objective, nuclear forensics analysis is to determine the attributes of a questioned radioactive specimen. Reduced to simple terms, the salient questions for a nuclear sample are, what was it, what's the origin, how did it get there, who was involved, okay? And as I'm sure our FBI folks can tell them, of course, the FBI was the lead organization on a forensics inquiry in nuclear materials. The scientist is always responding to a request from law enforcement. It's not like TV where some scientist is going to disappear and tell you everything about a sample. No, the scientist goes to the lab and answers the question presented to them by law enforcement. separate talk. Cool terms, though: a MORC, a material outside of regulatory control; a norm, a naturally occurring radioactive material; radionuclic materials; and then they have this great terminology: intact weapons versus post-detonation, so left of boom versus right of boom; radiation dispersion devices, or dirty bombs; and the policy component then of this. And so some of the next couple of slides focus on how how it's supposed to work, where the president says something fairly reasonable and then Congress and the State Department respond in kind. So this is how, in the old days, this is how it worked. So if we look at the Prague speech, the famous Prague speech, April of 2009, President Obama says today the Cold War has disappeared. This is really interesting. But thousands of those weapons have not. In a strange turn of history, the threat of global nuclear war has gone down, but the risk of nuclear attack has gone up. And that's all because of the non-state actors. Okay, 9/11 taught us that. Black market trade in nuclear secrets and nuclear materials abounds. Okay, the technology to build a bomb is spread, and terrorists are determined to build or buy one or steal one. And so he kicks off this concept of the Global Nuclear Security Summit. Every 2 years, beginning April of 2010, okay, get all the countries together, talk about nuclear security, and make commitments to going forward on making the world safer. And so nuclear forensics is going to be a part of that. And so we're seeing this sort of intersection of science and policy here. And so a lot of what happened in the ensuing 8 years is the U.S. developing its posture and its capabilities in this arena, nuclear security arena, me specifically working on how does forensics contribute to global nuclear security. And I'll tell you that in a few minutes. So here's the org chart. You can't see it from the back, I'm sorry, but State Department. I felt so empowered the first time I gave this talk, the first time I made this slide, because I was able to put like a really complicated org chart on it. That's how you know you're a federal employee. You got this badass org chart. And so I was here, so Secretary of State there, I was here, Undersecretary for Arms Control and International Security Affairs, or called the T Bureau, if we focus in on that. The T Bureau, ISN, all of these layers here, but there's some good names here: Office of Cooperative Threat Reduction, CTR, Export Control, Corporate, make sure you're not sending materials around the world that could be used for bad things. I was in here, Office of Weapons of Mass Destruction and Terrorism, ISN WMDT, for those in the know, all about the acronyms. This was my sort of chain of command. Oddly enough, lived across the street from my cousin, my boss, then Simon Lamage, then Assistant Secretary Thomas Countryman, Undersecretary Rose Godmuller, G.W. alum, John Kerry. None of them are at the State Department anymore. She moved on to NATO well before the election. He got fired last week. He's out of a job because he's in there. He moved on to a different bureau. That was a coincidence. He is at the State Department, excuse me. He moved to a different bureau as a natural career progression, nothing to do with the administration turnover. Okay, but Countryman is worth Googling and looking at, so it's worth following on Twitter. He's a good one. He's a very, I admire him a lot. So, I had a great business card for this, Foreign Affairs. I was technically a foreign, I was a federal employee, a GS-12 federal employee. Although I didn't get paid anything, that was what they said my pay scale was. The GS level really means something to people in the State Department. You don't really email much above your GS level, and everybody knows exactly what you make. And that has a lot to do with where you sit at lunch. And that's a slight exaggeration. I forget we're getting taped, so I have to watch it. Anyway, that's the card. And so what I did, so let's get back into what is a scientist doing engaged in policy, okay? And remember what we're doing here. We've got the Prague speech, we got a mission to sort of make the world safer through nuclear forensics and nuclear security issues. How are we going to do that? The mission of our office: reduce the WMD terrorism threat by establishing, strengthening, and maintaining the international capabilities of partners. This is our Ds: deter, detect, defeat, and respond to terrorist attempts to use chem-backed, biorad, or nuclear materials. Okay, CBRN. Okay, 4 teams in our office: counter-nuclear smuggling and nuclear forensics, are who I interacted with most. Okay, these guys engaged as well, but for brevity, we'll just kind of talk about these guys. And the goal here, this is a great phrase, provide diplomatic top cover for U.S. nuclear forensics engagements and work to identify and address gaps in nuclear forensics cooperation. This is one of the biggest challenges domestically as well as internationally. Remember, state is international. We're engaging with international partners, but we have to round up the troops locally, meaning Department of Homeland Security, anybody that, the Pentagon, various military branches, who's ever involved with nuclear forensics, we're going to be able to empower other countries or help provide diplomatic top cover for our government agencies to be working in another country. We have to know what's going on at home so that we can facilitate their efforts abroad. And oddly enough, some of the biggest challenges are information sharing. It took me a while to know what that word means. But it means how do 2 government agencies with 2 different missions and 2 different mandates and 2 different security clearance levels communicate? This is such an odd thing to me. In academia, you want to know something, you call the guy, right? Now, FBI wants to talk to DOE. They don't just pick up the phone. There's this protocol for communication. And if you're responding to an event, a pre-det interception, or God forbid a post-det thing, what is the communication pathways between federal agencies in order to organize a response? It's amazing that that's a thing, but it is. Okay, we're trying to link cases with prosecution, system prosecutions, comparative analysis of materials. That's huge in forensics, especially nuclear forensics, because most of the materials have been manufactured somewhere, so you can get back to where these things were manufactured. And we were across the spectrum of weapons to dirty bombs. Okay, so whether we're empowering folks with forensics issues or looking to counter the smuggling of nuclear materials, these were sort of the things we did, okay? Pre-det, post-det, same thing. Right of boom, when something goes off, what was the device? Not only who lit it off, but who made it, okay? Nuclear, if it's a full-on nuclear explosion, not a dirty bomb, nuclear explosion, it was a state-built device. Okay, so that tells you something about who's doing it. So in order to do that, right, this gets very sensitive very quickly. Countries don't like to show their cards. Oh, we just lost a nuclear weapon. We're going to ask you for help. No, right? So you have to sort of work on that. And diplomatic top cover helps with that. And that sort of thing. So what did I do is I sort of supported all of the above. Technical consultation, reality check. Oftentimes our teams would develop a exercise, and with other countries, go down to another country and do a tabletop exercise. Okay, somebody says, you have found something on the front seat of the car. What do you do next? And you do a mock-up of what agency you called, all these kinds of things. And sometimes they're weren't always technically realistic. So that would help with that. What can you really detect from a poor log or these kinds of things? Policy, I got that. This is sort of some high-end analysis here where we were trying to put our arms around the entire interagency. That means the federal government, interagency, who are engaged in nuclear forensics. And we're trying to capture current and aspirational programmatic activities. Federal government's huge. Some people don't like that. Some people don't mind. It's immaterial. The problem is, the fact is, it's a big and complex entity with lots of different agencies and interests. So in order to know what's going on in a country of interest, you've got to put your arms around all of those agencies' programmatic efforts. It's a heavy lift. Typical day, this is an old slide now that should say included. Inter-office meetings, inter-agency meetings, bopping around town to interview workers in other agencies to find out about their programmatic efforts. Travel, I'll show you some pictures in a second to facilitate some of these workshops. But also, I'll talk about, it was a very lovely experience to interact with really smart and passionate colleagues. The non-scientists at State, or there weren't too many of us at State, but my point is that I had no idea of the culture. When I got there, nobody's over 35. I was the old guy in the office at 45, and I went to like one happy hour. I just couldn't take it anymore. It's too loud. I just want to go home. And it's funny how that changes. But I was really impressed with the dedication and commitment of people. And I say that because there is some, anti-government sentiments. Well, there's plenty now, but in general, my point is that these guys aren't bad people. These are hard-working, focused. They're not making any money either. They're not doing this to get rich. Okay. Other things that happen, maybe I don't want to take away too much time. I want to make sure there's time for questions, but I did get an interesting opportunity to work with some Armenian scientists, and I got called out of retirement. So next week we're meeting with the Armenians. They're coming here to work on curriculum development. How can you sneak some nuclear forensics science curriculum contributions into a typical undergraduate degree trajectory so that you ensure a workforce development in another country? U.S. Plenty of scientists know stuff about nuclear stuff, and if you need to repurpose some nuclear scientists to doing forensics, no big deal, you can make that happen. In Armenia, you don't have the same labor pool, so how do you cultivate a labor pool so that people can get called into action if in fact there's an incident? So some interesting travel opportunities here. This is the Nevada test site, it's not called the Nevada National Security Site. This is where we had blown up all of our weapons, not all, but most up until 1992. We're testing our nuclear weapons. It's now the National Nuclear Security Site since we don't test weapons anymore. This is the size of it, right here. Size of it, Yucca Mountain's over here too, this has now been sort of repurposed as a government facility where you can do big, dangerous experiments, meaning they're qualified for sort of live use of nerve agents and things like that. If you could blow up weapons all over the place, releasing a little sarin gas probably isn't so bad. It's probably on the license somewhere. But if you really, these are the people that if first responders really want to test their PPE and you really want to fill a subway car with sarin gas, that's where you put it. So keep that in mind if you have any plans for testing your PPE. So this was going into a unnamed facility here, but this was on the trip. There's Undersecretary Tom Countryman. And this was my partner in crime, who was also a fellow. He was in a second year of fellowship. He was another PhD actinide chemist. And I applied for the position without knowing he was there. And this is how small the world is. He and I had 2 papers together, and we'd never met. Because he was a postdoc with a guy I collaborated with, and he made the materials, we did the crystal show, whatever. I knew who he was. I show up and he's got this name tag on, David Schnars, I'm like, you're kidding me. So anyway, we were BFFs for the year, traveled to the security site. This is the director of the site. This was a Q level trip, by the way, so the reason I'm not Q meaning the security level, the reason I'm not telling you what's down that hole is because I can't. Very interesting. There's going into another hole that we can't talk about. Put some other director folks over there. Again, countrymen or hero. This is at the edge of the Sedan crater, one of the big holes in the ground from an above ground test. The sign isn't showing the radiation levels there, but we're safe up there. And the funny thing about this is, you never know what's going to come back to you. And you talk about career evolution. So the last time I had gone to Nevada and came out not being able to talk about anything, was anyone familiar with Burning Man? So I went 97, 98, 99, couldn't tell too many stories. Then a cute level visit 15 years later, and you still can't say much. So funny how that happens. Got to teach a course on nuclear forensics, introduction to nuclear forensics in Brazil, Sao Paulo, Brazil. This was a great visit. The audience was from 15 countries, Latin American countries, and they were lawyers, first responders, regulators, lab directors, all sorts of people that are going to be engaged in a nuclear forensics enterprise somehow. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but nobody does nuclear forensics full time. It's just not that much of a need, and you just don't do it. What you do is you repurpose scientists to do it. And so a lot of the training happens is how do you repurpose an existing infrastructure and labor pool to be responsive to something? Okay, so some of that training, this was an IAEA course. IAEA makes all the materials. They sent me the slide deck and say, present this, and that was great. IAEA keeps the State Department in its Rolodex, as you might imagine, and so we went on a delegation to Brazil to teach that. I took a selfie at their reactor. That's the Cherenkov radiations. There really wasn't much of a rally. Okay, that's how they do it down here. That's fine. When in Rome. The Nuclear Security Summit in 2016. This is the same, well, it's either the same one or the room next door, I don't know, but Obama spoke from this one. He wasn't there when I was up there. It was empty the room was empty as we walked by, and I just jumped up and took a picture. But my job was, I was a handler for the European Union delegation, so we had to meet the VIPs. I didn't go to the airport, but I had to get the diplomats from the security checkpoints to their rooms. It was a lot of making sure people's drinks were cold kind of thing, but I was in the room with all of the leaders, so that was pretty interesting. Here's the crew here, PhD scientist, PhD chemist, PhD physicist. This is Frank Quallen, who's a director, word before like either associate or assistant director, White House Security Council. Another boss, Michael Curry. These are other people in my office, but and an ambassador, Bonnie Jenkins in the middle. So plenty of shoulder rubbing. And I'll start closing and begin the discussion here, open it up for some comments here with this sort of how you can get involved in this. Maybe you already know this because you guys have this fantastic society here, but if you're trying to get involved in the policy space and trying to cultivate an awareness to that intersection of science and technology policy, don't reinvent the wheel. There are a lot of people working on this and a lot of people who are publishing on this, and the scientific societies in particular are the ones doing the heavy lifting. AAAS, American Chemical Society, AIP is probably, in some respects, the leader, in my opinion, because they've got, if you poke around on their website, they're generating a lot of content. They do some nice unbiased spectrum. AAAS, of course, the leaders in this arena as well, in workforce development, being on the cutting edge of these kinds of things, and also having the programs to sponsor fellows, and I'll get to that in a second. Maybe you already know this, the Google terms like that, what you might not know to Google is science diplomacy. Okay, this is how the scientists do it. I was a science diplomat going to these other countries to promote things. So the fellowships, State Department internships, mine was specific to the State Department, but AAAS has the Congressional Science Fellow, I forget all the names, but one AIP person and 150 AAAS people a year. So my one AIP got lumped in with AAAS. AAAS has this fantastic professional development program, and the one AIP person, AIP is not going to do that for me, so they dump you in with the AAAS people, and they call me a partner society. So my encouragement here is to be poking around on that. Follow people on Twitter who are in this space. Because they are constantly, a lot of them are in DC and a lot of them are going to meetings all the time, and they tweet out a couple of interesting little tidbits from something that just went down at a meeting. And at this stage of your career, and I'm going to say this right now, be a scientist first. You don't want to spend too much time on this. You can pick this up later. If you want to be taken seriously in this space, and if you think you have a career trajectory into that space, you don't want to be a second-rate scientist. Be a first-rate scientist first. You're going to be more effective and you're going to be taken more seriously. So if you're having any doubts right now, man, maybe I shouldn't finish my PhD, just suck some out of here. Don't, tough it out. You will be more committed and more impactful and more, I think it'll be a better scene to be a PhD scientist. Plus, the opportunities here in terms of these fellowships and whatnot are only open to the PhD scientist. So that's my comment. And so back to the Twitter thing is, do this by osmosis, okay? Look at what other people are doing, read their reports, but don't, I caution against too heavy of a lift. It's also a black hole. You can study this stuff forever, and then the policy changes next month, and you just blew a month of your life studying something that never happened. So tidbits at this point. Cultivate the awareness, okay? And that, I think, developing that enlightenment and how to communicate between the communities at this stage of your careers is perhaps even more important than diving in head first. Some unsolicited advice. When I joined this fellowship program, like I said, I was the old guy, not only in the office but in the program. Most people were right out of a postdoc or grad school, so we had an affinity group called Fellows Over 40, and we would have happy hours at the AAAS headquarters because it was quieter. And we all weren't, none of us were engaged in any sort of courtship or mating rituals. So, we were older and established and everything. So my point there is it's a younger person's game in some respects, but what I was so impressed with was the maturity of these guys and that they knew themselves. They were able to articulate their science. They had elevator speeches. You asked them what they did for their grad program, bang, they just told you. There was none of this. I went back and yelled at my grad students and said, I don't want to hear a like out of your mouth ever. You tell them exactly what you're working on without saying like, and so that your grandmother can understand. So develop these kinds of things. I'm going off script here. I've said all of this already here. But my point here, too, is as you're looking at some of these people, or looking in this space, or you're following people either on Twitter or elsewhere, look at how they're doing something. Not necessarily what they are doing, just what they are doing. Okay? And my point here is, what kind of framework or skill set or infrastructure has somebody established to let them work in that space? For me, it was being at GW and having an enlightened campus that allowed me to do this. So my infrastructure was hanging around smart policy people. Okay, what's it going to be for you to get into that space? Okay, how do you make that happen from central Pennsylvania? Do you spend some time in DC? Do you look internally at the campus community and the poli-sci departments, whatever? This thing, though, is huge. Developing a pool of mentors and letter writers. You're always going to need a letter. I need letters now. I'm a tenured full professor. I don't care. Pretty much I'm good career-wise. But I have itches and you have opportunities and things like that. You always need a letter from somebody. And if you're developing a good relationship with mentors, and by mentors I mean people, and you may need more than one mentor for different topics, different components of your life. But weave these together a little bit so that you have a pool of resources you can lean on. Because I already lamented a little bit my lack of mentorship at the moment. I don't really know what I'm doing next. I'm not leaving GW. Did you get that? My point is what's the next thing? Do I go more into policy? Do I focus on the communication? This election has us in a tailspin. What are going to be the next stages of effectiveness and engagement for me? And I'm struggling to have that conversation with somebody. So my point is mentors at all times. So how are we doing on clock? Okay, good. This is right about where I want to stop so I can start taking some questions and some dialogue. These are my fantastic students that made this all possible. And as I showed in the other talk, sabbatical in DC was pretty interesting because here's GW right there. There's my lab inside the nice new shiny Science and Engineering Hall. Oh, by the way, White House, Washington Monument, in case you didn't know. Washington Monument. State Department, 3 blocks, 2.5 if you sneak out the back door. Metro, right there. So I'd get up, get off the Metro in the morning, sneak through the lab, check on everybody, swing by the gym, change into a suit, go to the State Department, back, change into my shorts, back over here to the left. So I was able to sort of keep it all together for a year and check on my grad students. And these guys are grateful for them. And some of them have been sort of drunk the policy Kool-Aid, not all of them. But what I'm definitely trying to do in my group is to create a forum for cultivating that awareness. And more importantly than ever, the communication. What's that elevator speech? Because I think so much is on us as scientists. My own confession earlier about this elitist approach I had in my policy course, it's not helpful. It's not helpful. We got to be able to be a little bit more articulate across the level of stakeholders and interested folks, and I think that's on us, especially going forward, because we've got our work cut out for us. So with that, happy to open up the discussions, questions, whatever you'd like to do. I'm at your service.